Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Fazan Ali Softwarewala and I'm a level 1 student at Hans School Islamabad campus. Today I'm here with a new co-pilot. So our today's co-pilot topic is talk with ChatGPT 25 minutes. How does pollution affect our planet? So let's make an co-pilot on this topic 25 minutes. So let's start. First of all, call co-pilot for some questions. Okay, so co-pilot, my first question from you is what is pollution in simple terms and what are the main types of pollution? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic and very meaningful answer on this topic. So let's start. I'm waiting for your long answer and very clearly answer.
Sure thing. So, pollution in simple terms is basically when unwanted stuff ends up in our environment and messes with nature. Kind of like when you throw a party, but no one cleans up afterwards. And there's several types: air pollution from car fumes, water pollution from industrial waste, soil pollution from pesticides, and even noise pollution from those 3 a.m. car alarms. Basically, if it's something we don't want in our air, water, or land, it is pollution. So, do you have a particular type of pollution you're curious about, or should we explore a bit more?
It's really not good answer. It's really too short answer. Please give me very interesting answer and medium long answer.
Absolutely, I can dive a bit deeper for you. So, think of pollution as all the ways that human activity leaves a mark on our planet, sometimes in ways we can't see. Air pollution, for instance, it's not just the smog you see in big cities, it's also the invisible gases that can change our climate. Water pollution might be oil spills or plastic waste floating in the oceans, and soil pollution can affect the food we grow. And of course, noise pollution is like that constant background hum that can actually stress people and wildlife out over time. It's fascinating and a bit alarming how interconnected it all is. So, is there a specific type of pollution you want to explore more, or should we keep going at this level?
Okay, that's really great. So, how does pollution affect the earth, and why did pollution become a serious global problem? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So, let's start.
All right, let's dive in a bit deeper then. Imagine pollution as everything we humans do that leaves a footprint on our planet. Kind of like uninvited graffiti on nature's canvas. So we've got air pollution, which isn't just the smog that hangs over cities, but also those invisible greenhouse gases that can change our climate over time. Then there's water pollution, everything from oil spills and plastic islands floating in the ocean to the chemicals that sneak their way into rivers. And soil pollution can affect the crops we grow and the food we eat. And we can't forget noise pollution. Those honking horns and blaring sirens that can stress out both people and wildlife. It's all connected and it shows how much our actions ripple through the environment. So, which type of pollution would you like to dig into a bit more? Or should we keep exploring them all?
Okay, so why is pollution considered as a threat of to life? How are humans responsible for pollution? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So, let's start.
Let me paint you a vivid picture of pollution then. Picture the atmosphere as an invisible blanket around the earth, and every time we burn fossil fuels or release chemicals, we're basically adding layers to that blanket, making it a bit harder for the planet to breathe. Now, shift your focus to water. Our rivers and oceans are like the bones of the earth, and when we let chemicals and plastic slip in, it's like we're letting toxins flow through those veins. And there's the soil beneath our feet, which should be full of life and nutrients, but when it's polluted, it's like we're draining the soil of its vitality. Oh, and let's not forget noise pollution. Imagine a constant drumbeat of urban life that never quite lets nature get a moment of silence. It's all these layered together that make pollution such a complex and fascinating topic. So let's keep this conversation going. What else do you want to dig into?
Okay, so my next question from you is: can pollution be reversed? Which countries are most affected by pollution? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic and fully long answer. So, let's start.
Well, absolutely. Let's dive into that. So, the idea of reversing pollution is kind of like trying to turn back the clock on a messy room. It's not impossible, but it takes teamwork, clever solutions, and a bit of determination. Some countries are investing in renewable energy, cutting down on plastic use, and restoring forests, which is kind of like hitting the undo button on pollution bit by bit. As for which countries are most affected, you've got places where rapid industrialization has led to heavy air pollution. Think cities in India or China where smog can be a real challenge. Or places with heavy water pollution issues, like regions that rely on rivers for drinking water, have become contaminated. But the good news is that many of these places are also becoming hubs of innovation, trying out new ways to clean up and go green. So it's definitely a challenge that's on a global scale, and it's exciting to see the different ways countries are tackling it. What else are you curious about?
Okay, that's really good. So, how does pollution spread from one place to another? Why should we care about pollution? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So, let's start.
Absolutely. Let's bring this all together and make it interesting. So, pollution is kind of like an uninvited guest that doesn't respect boundaries, whether it's air pollution hitching a ride on the wind and traveling across continents, or plastic waste drifting across oceans to wash up on beaches half a world away. It's all interconnected, and that's exactly why we should care, because pollution doesn't stay put. It can affect the air we all breathe, the water we drink, and the food we eat, no matter where we live. Think of it like this. The actions we take in one corner of the world can ripple out and touch lives in another. And that's kind of the beauty of tackling pollution. When we work together to solve it, we're making the whole planet a healthier place for everyone. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so my next question from you is what cases air pollution? How does air pollution affect human health? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your very interesting answers. Let's start.
Absolutely, let's dive into that. So, air pollution is basically like this invisible cocktail of particles and gases that can come from cars, factories, wildfire, and even dust. And the reason we should care is because when we're in that cocktail, it doesn't exactly do our lungs any favors. It can lead to everything from emotions like coughing and sneezing to more serious issues like asthma, heart disease, or even lung cancer over time. It's like your lungs are dealing with a bit of a smoggy intruder that can sneak its way into your bloodstream and cause trouble elsewhere in your body. What makes it so interesting and a bit daunting is how it can affect everyone differently. Depending on things like age or health conditions, it doesn't just stay in one place. Air pollution can travel across borders. So it's a global problem, then she's a global solution. So what else are you curious about?
Copilot, how does air pollution contribute to global warming? And what are greenhouse gases? How do vehicles increase the air pollution? And what is smog? And why is it dangerous? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for interesting answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's break it down and make it fun. So picture air pollution as not just a local troublemaker, but also a bit of a climate mischief maker. When we talk about air pollution contributing to global warming, we're talking about greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane that trap heat in our atmosphere, kind of like a giant planetary blanket. They let sunlight in, but don't let all the heat back out, and that leads to a warming planet. Now, how do vehicles fit into this? Well, every time you start up a car engine, it's like a mini greenhouse gas factory on wheels. Cars release carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the air, adding to that warming blanket, and also contributing to smog. And speaking of smog, that's basically what you get when sunlight reacts with pollutants like car emissions to form a kind of hazy fog that hangs over cities. It's not just a visibility issue, it's also a health hazard, irritating lungs and making it harder to breathe. So it's all connected and it's definitely something worth paying attention to. So what else can you explore?
Okay, so my next question from you is how does air pollution affect plants and animals? What is the ozone layer and how it is damaged? So please give me a very interesting answer. How can we reduce air pollution in daily life? So interesting answer on this topic. So let's start. I'm waiting for interesting and long answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's dive into how air pollution is like that unwelcome guest. It doesn't just stick to humans, but also messes with plants and animals. Imagine plants trying to breathe through tiny pores in the leaves. When the air is polluted, those pores can get clogged
Okay.
up or
So,
irritated, which makes it harder for plants.
okay, okay. Start. Starting your answer. Please continue your answer.
All right, let's keep it going. So, tying all of that together in a nutshell, air pollution is a bit of a chain reaction. You've got vehicles and factories releasing greenhouse gases into the air, which not only warms up our planet, but also creates smog, that hazy layer that can be pretty tough on our lungs. It's a bit of a double whammy. On one hand, you've got the long-term impacts on the climate, and on the other, you've got the immediate hit on air quality and public health. But the encouraging part is that because it's all interconnected, the solution can be here. Things like cleaner transportation, renewable energy, and reducing emissions can help tackle both climate change and air quality issues at the same time. So it's a big challenge, but also a great opportunity for us to rethink how we treat our planet. What's on your mind next?
Next question from you is what cases water pollution? How does plastic waste affect oceans? And what happens when animals ingest plastics? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic and very meaningful answer on this topic. So let's start.
Absolutely, let's dive in. Imagine water pollution as our oceans and rivers getting a bit of a raw deal from all the stuff we throw at them. Everything from chemicals to oil spills to, yep, plastic waste. And plastic is a real troublemaker because it doesn't just vanish. It breaks down into tiny pieces called microplastics that stick around for ages. Now picture a sea turtle or a fish coming across a piece of plastic and thinking it's food. When animals ingest plastic, it can cause all sorts of problems, from blocking their digestive tract to making them feel full when they're actually not getting any nutrients. And that's not just bad news for the animals, it's a ripple effect that can impact entire ecosystems. So why does this matter? Because our oceans are like the lungs of our planet, producing oxygen and supporting countless forms of life. Taking care of our waterways is basically taking care of our own future. So what else would you like to dive into?
Drinking water, what is soil pollution? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic and very meaningful and long answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's talk about how water pollution ties into our drinking water. So imagine a crystal clear stream that's supposed to be a source of fresh water. Now imagine that stream picking up runoff from farms, factories, or even just the streets, carrying things like pesticides, heavy metals, or bacteria. That once pristine water now becomes a bit of a cocktail of contaminants, and that makes treating it for safe drinking a lot more challenging and sometimes expensive. And then there's soil pollution, which is like giving the ground beneath our feet a dose of unwanted chemicals, whether that's from industrial spills, improper waste disposal, or even overuse of fertilizers. When soilly polluted, it can affect the food we grow and even leach into groundwater, creating a domino effect that circles right back to our drinking water. The good news, there are solutions. Things like better waste management, using less harmful chemicals, and cleaning up polluted sites can help us protect both our soil and our water. So it's all about tackling pollution at source and keeping our environment healthy from the ground up. What else can I help you with?
Okay. So, Copilot, how does pesticides and chemicals harm soils? How does pollution affect farming and crops? And why are rivers and lakes becoming polluted? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic and fully long answer on this topic. So, let's start.
Absolutely. Let's keep this conversation rolling. So just to wrap it all up, what we're seeing is that everything is connected. From the water we drink to the soil we plant our food in, pollution might start in one place, but it doesn't stay there. It travels, it transforms, and it comes back in ways that remind us how important it is to take care of our planet. The more we understand these connections, the better we can come up with solutions that protect both our environment and our own health. So it's really a journey of learning and adapting, and it's great to see you so curious and engaged. What else are you interested in exploring?
Okay, so how does oil spill pollution harm marine life, and how can water and soil pollution be controlled? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start. I'm waiting for your long answer and very interesting answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's keep it going then. So, thinking about pollution really is a big picture kind of thing. It's like we're all part of this global ecosystem where everything we do has a ripple effect. When we pollute our water or soil, it doesn't just stay on one spot. It moves through the environment, impacting wildlife, people, and the climate. Plastic waste, for example, isn't just an ocean problem. It's a global problem that affects the entire food chain from tiny plankton to humans. And that's what makes tackling pollution both a challenge and an opportunity. We've got a chance to rethink how we produce and consume, to innovate with cleaner technologies, and to come together as a global community to protect the places we all share. So whether we're talking about air, water, or soil, it's all about finding those meaningful, practical solutions that help us live more sustainably. Thanks for having a conversation with me. What else can we explore together?
Okay, so my next.
Absolutely. Let's dive right into it. So pollution and global warming are basically like partnering in crime. The pollutants we release into the air, especially greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane, create this sort of blanket around the Earth. That blanket traps heat, which leads to global warming and climate change. On top of that, you've got other pollutants like aerosols that can also influence the climate in different ways, sometimes cooling things down, but often causing other complications. It's kind of a big interconnected web, and the role pollution plays is huge because it's something where you have the power to change. The exciting part is that by cutting down on pollution, we not only help slow global warming, but also make the air, water, and soil cleaner and healthier for everyone. So it's really a win-win. Tackling pollution is one of those meaningful steps that can have a ripple effect in all the best ways. Thanks for diving into this with me. What else can we shake about?
So, co-pilot, how does pollution affect wildlife habitats, and why are many species becoming endangered? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for an interesting answer. So, let's start.
Absolutely, let's dive right in. So when it comes to wildlife habitats, pollution is like an uninvited basically remodels the entire house. It changes the environment by contaminating water, soil, and air, making it tough for animals to find clean water, food, and safe places to live. And as habitats get more polluted, lots of species struggle to survive because they're losing the resources they depend on. That's why we're seeing so many animals becoming endangered. It's not just about one single threat. It's this combination of losing their habitats, dealing with pollution, and sometimes also facing climate change that makes it difficult for them to adapt. But here's the interesting part. By cleaning up pollution and protecting habitats, we actually have a chance to turn things around and help these species bounce back. It's all about
Okay. So, how does noise pollution affect animals? What happens to ecosystems and pollution increases? So, please give me very interesting answer on this topic. How does pollution affect biodiversity? Please give me just three questions answers. So, I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's dive in. So, pollution really reshapes the places where animals live. Think of noise pollution. It's like cranking up the volume in the natural world, and it can really stress out animals. Some animals rely on sound to find mates or avoid predators, so all that extra noise can really throw off their routines and even force them to move elsewhere. Now, when pollution messes with habitats, like when plastics or chemicals get into rivers or when forests are destroyed, it creates a huge challenge for wildlife. Animals lose their homes, their food sources dwindle, and they have to compete for whatever is left. That's a big reason why many species are becoming endangered. They just can't adapt fast enough. And it all links back to biodiversity. When pollution harms a variety of species, it creates a chain reaction that can affect entire ecosystems. So if we want to keep our planet healthy, it's all about tackling pollution in all its forms. What do you think?
Okay. So my next question from you is, Copilot, how does melting ice relate to pollution, and why is climate change a global concern? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for interesting answers. Let's start.
Absolutely. Let's dive into it. So, melting ice is like one of those big flashing warning signs that our planet is getting us. Essentially, pollution, especially from greenhouse gases, is a huge driver of climate change. When we pump out all these emissions, we're trapping more heat in the Earth's atmosphere, and that extra heat is what's causing ice in places like the Arctic and Antarctica to melt at a much faster rate. And that's a global concern because when that ice melts, it raises sea levels, which can lead to coastal flooding and all sorts of unpredictable weather changes. It affects ecosystems, wildlife, and even human communities around the world. So it's all connected. Tackling pollution isn't just about cleaning up our local environment, it's about addressing a challenge that literally spans the entire globe. Thanks for the fantastic question. What else are you curious about?
Okay, so viewers, I have an network issue. Continue our today's Copilot. So Copilot, first of all, mic on the Copilot. So Copilot, what are the long-term effect of pollution? How can individuals help reduce pollution? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your interesting answers. Let's start. And it's a long answer.
Absolutely. Let's jump right in. So, if we're talking long term, pollution can really change the game for both the environment and us humans. Over time, persistent pollution can lead to loss of biodiversity, degraded ecosystems, and long lasting health issues for people. But the good news is that individual actions really do add up. For example, by reducing single use plastics, conserving energy, and supporting sustainable products, each person can help cut down on pollution. It's all about those everyday choices and sharing the mindset that we're all in this together. So keep those questions coming.
So we will. This was our co-pilot. I hope you like it. I meet with new co-pilot next topic. Thank you and Allah Hafiz. Pakistan Zindabad. Allah Hafiz.